Here's what I keep hearing from N8N automators. I automated my entire business and saved 30 hours a week, but I still spend every Sunday manually hunting for content ideas. And if you're a content creator, you know this pain too. That endless cycle of, what should I post today? Well, what I'm about to show you changes everything for you. Now, here's the thing, and this might sound a bit crazy, but the reason you're still manually scrolling through Reddit at midnight isn't because you lack creativity. It's because you're treating content discovery like it's some sort of mystical art form, instead of what it actually is, a data problem that can be solved with automation. The irony is that Reddit is literally a goldmine of viral content ideas with built-in engagement data that tells you exactly what your audience wants, but you're approaching it like it's 1995. What if I told you that with N8N, the same tool you use to automate everything else, you could build a system that has nothing to do with guesswork, inspiration, or creative blocks. Instead, it will, number one, automatically scrape Reddit for the hottest topics in your exact niche. Number two, filter them by engagement thresholds to surface only viral-worthy content. Number three, it will transform those ideas into platform-specific posts for things like Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts if you wanted to. And then it will generate accompanying images and delivers everything to your inbox. And all this runs on complete autopilot while you focus on strategic work. So imagine waking up every morning with a pipeline of proven ideas that your audience is already engaging with, without ever having to think, what should I post today ever again? I'm showing you this because I've built hundreds of N8N workflows thus far, and this particular system has generated over 500,000 impressions for content creators I know who have implemented it. Plus, there's this stupid myth that automating content creation somehow makes you lazy or inauthentic. But the reality is you're being strategic. You're doing what successful automators do best, which is building systems that work while they sleep. So by the end of this demo, you'd walk away with the complete content abundance system, the exact N8N workflow that scrapes Reddit automatically based on your keywords, a smart filtering system that only surfaces high engagement, viral-worthy ideas, AI-powered content generation that creates multiple angles per post, a full image generation ability, and that's pretty much it. So you have nothing to think about when it comes to content creation. If you're an N8N automator or a content creator, this is the automation for you. Even if you've never touched automations before, you can implement this today by checking out the link in the description for the full workflow, and you'll be up and running very quickly. And the best part is that this uses tools like N8N, free APIs, and other tools that you probably already have. There's no expensive subscription, no complex setup, there's no monthly fee that is eating into your profits. It's just a pure N8N automation that solves the big problem that has been keeping you stuck in manual mode. But this will allow you to go from manual to automatic. So with that said, let's dive right in. So over here, we have N8N and we have Lovable, which will be the front-facing tool that we'll use to make this all look nice and pretty. And what we're going to do here is essentially start with a webhook, which we will eventually connect to Lovable, and this will be where the data will be sent. So we will have the option where the user will be able to have a form, which will look something like this. So let's do some quick designs here. So the user will be able to enter an idea or a keyword. They will be able to choose their favorite N8N subreddit, and they will then essentially be able to also choose whether this will be a top post, a new post, or a hot post. The user will then press a button, so let's call this submit, and once they do, they get a bunch of ideas. So these will all be ideas retrieved from Reddit based on the 3 inputs the user would have given, right? So this will all happen automatically. The user just inserts this information, and then they press the submit button, and that's pretty much it. So everything else will work on autopilot. If I just manage to get the arrow right there. Once the whole process gets completed, we get those ideas retrieved on the same screen or shown on the same screen as the thing we will build right here. Then, so this would be part one, right? Let's call this part one. What we then have is a part two. So once we get those ideas for the user will have a choice of different ideas, right? So let's say we have idea one, idea two, idea three, etc. Depending on how many ideas there are for that specific keyword that they would have chosen there. Once that happens, the user can then click on one idea and they can choose a platform. And when that happens, the user will then get 3 LinkedIn ideas, for example, that are based purely on what was chosen by the user. So here the user will choose the idea and potentially they will also choose the platform. So they will have the ability to choose from LinkedIn, Reddit, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, whatever that might be. So they pick, I don't know, LinkedIn, and using the combination of these two inputs, they will get these 3 LinkedIn ideas, and potentially they're also able to get an image that relates to whatever idea they chose. So that is what we're going to be building in this video. So that's the rough overview of the plan. As you can see, this is still empty, so I'll be taking you along for the ride as I go through this, because I think that it's the better way to just see how it all works instead of just seeing the completed picture and then you're trying to put bits and pieces together. So here, if we go back to N8N, we need to start by the following thing. So we need to have the keyword, the N8N subreddit, and the topics. What I will do is first I will build the information or the flow right here, and then we'll go to Lovable and build a better looking front end for this. So here, let's just for now have a form, and we're going to use a new form right there, and let's call this the Reddit information system, RIS. And here we'll say insert your data below to get Reddit ideas. So what we need here is to add the form elements, and as we said, we'll have 3. We'll have the idea keyword, we'll have the N8N subreddit, and we'll have the top, new, or hot. So this will be the idea or keyword, it's required. Then we'll have the, actually, let's do N8N subreddit, required as well. And finally, we'll have the top or new or hot. Potentially, this will be a drop-down list, so we can add those like so. So we have top, we have new, and we have hot. So this will look something like this. So we have the idea keyword and N8N subreddit and the top, new, or hot. Great. So that is the first part. So now let's get some data into this. And let's say we have the keyword, which is N8N, the subreddit is N8N. We're going to get the top Reddit post from there. So for now, I'll disable that, and I'm going to pin the form data. The next thing I'm going to do is connect to Reddit, because here I want to actually get many posts. And if you've never connected Reddit to N8N, the process is pretty straightforward. So here we have the OBOT redirect URL. I can click on Open Docs. Here I get all the information I need in order to create it. So here there's the Reddit developer documentation, and let's see, API, I'm sure there's a direct link creating a third party. Yep, this is the one. So here, what I want is to create an app. So let's give this a name. So YouTube Reddit. We're going to give it a description. What is important here is this redirect URI. So I go back to N8N, we get that right here. So let's go here, we paste that in there, choose I'm not a robot, and we create the app. So this cannot include Reddit there. Okay, cool. YouTube tutorial. I'm not a robot, create app, and that's pretty much it. So here we have the ID of the app, which is that right there. And then we have the secret, which starts with LH. So if I just copy this to N8N and the ID, I can now connect my account. I hit allow. And that is successful. So now I'm pretty much done with that. What is important here is that I need to choose or insert the name of the subreddit. And if you go to reddit.com/r/N8N, I believe that's the format. Yep. Here we have the format to use, right? So it's reddit/r/N8N. And if we go here, we have the whole N8N subreddit where people are speaking about different things. We have a post that was created 47 minutes ago, 7 days ago, 3 hours ago, 22 hours ago. YouTube is full of rubbish tutorials. Fair. Why is N8N superior to other tools? So these are all related to N8N. What is important here is that we can also sort by these, right? We have the best, we have the hot, we have the new, the top, and the rising. So that's also one filter we have built into our N8N here. In this case, the N8N subreddit will be the subreddit, right? And I mean, technically, I guess we could also remove the idea/keyword. We could use it to filter, I guess, as well. So yeah, let's leave it in there for now. We can return all the posts from that subreddit, or we can just limit this to, let's say, 15. I'm going to execute this step so we see what data we get back from Reddit. And over here, we got 15 items. We get the text of the post, as you can see. We get a bunch of additional information. So clicked, title, might be important. We get the downvotes, downs. We get the ups, which is important. Potentially, what I'm looking for though is comments. Created band domain. Let's see. Author, full name saved, mod, click, title, subreddit name, hidden. I mean, I think we might also use ups as the upvotes to that upvote ratio. I mean, even upvote ratio might be a good thing to consider in order to filter out. But yeah, let's just use the upvotes in order to filter out this information. So now, since I got 15 posts, what I want to do is only filter those that have a, let's say, we're going to use these, what was it called? Either upvote ratio. PWLS. I'm just curious though. Weekly self-promotion thread. So if I go here. Okay, so that did show up there. So if I go back to N8N and I look at the second item. Self-text after writing this guide. Let me see if I can find that. Nope. So, let's see. So if I look at any post here, we have one. Okay, we have one or 138. So I'm just curious what this 138, because that's the one I'm looking for. So 138 here. Do you have any information on what that is? Faceplate number, pretty number. 138. Let's see. Let's ask OpenAI or a large language model. Let's use Claude. And let's say, what is this number called on Reddit? The comment count or the number of comments? Okay. Really? Wouldn't it be the upvotes? Standard comment icon. I'm referring to the number in between the arrows. I mean, yeah, I did. I mean, yeah, circle that. That's called the scorer vote count. Upvote and downvote. Okay. That's weird though. Might be hidden or at 0. I mean, it's 138. So anyway, going back to this. So potentially, yeah, let's use this ups. I would think this would be the ups and the downs. So let's only filter on stuff that has ups. So let's find that. We have downs there. So let's say ups number must be greater than, let's see if we get 10. How many? Yeah, we discarded 9, we kept 6. I think that's a good amount. So let's only keep those that have more than 10 upvotes. So out of 15, we kept around 6. So we discarded 9. Great. And now what I'm going to do is I want to return that to in a second lovable. So here I'm going to, in this case, use the on form submission response, so to speak. So on form N8N form, and I'm going to use the form ending just for me to see that this is working as expected. And here I'm just going to return the text. So I'll just call this the text. There was a title as well. So let's put title there, which is json.title. What else? I think that's pretty much it. I'm not interested in anything else. Yeah, so let's just return that. In this case, let's test this, see what we get. Okay, completion title. So complete. If we're to run this, we got all that. So we got title and we got that first post. So what we want actually is not just return one, right? What we want is to combine all of that and return it. So potentially I want to use a code node to just combine all that information. So here I want to return the combination of self text and title for each of our capped items. So if I go here, copy all this, and go back here, start a new chat, and say, give me an N8N code that will return that for each item here, return the title and the text. In a JSON format. Let's see. So what I should have said, I believe, is I should have specified this should be an N8N code node. So let's try that, save. Yeah, self text. Cool. So this will go through our results and grab the title and the text, at least on paper. So if I go here and I add a code node, I can run that, execute step. Now great, we got 6 items with the title and the text. So now if I just connect that like so, I can return all the JSON. And let's see if we can execute that step. Okay, we got the object. So what I want to do just for now is just convert it to a JSON string. So now if I execute, I will get the title, you can see. And what I don't like is that I'm only getting one post, I think, but that might be because, let's see, completion message, show completion screen. What if we show text here? And here we just return the JSON.to JSON string. Execute. Got the title. Yeah, for some reason we're still getting one thing. So we're getting 6 items as output. And yeah, it's very interesting. Here we're getting everything. But here, I mean, we might need to combine everything, I guess, in terms of returning that. So what happens if we aggregate all that? And we aggregate title and text, maybe. So title. So now we've got one item with all the titles and the text. So not exactly what I want, but I'm not super fussed because I'm going to change it to lovable in a second. So here we got all the titles and all the text, as you can see. So what I would want is the title is associated with the text, right? So 0 is combined with 0, 1 is combined with 1, and so on and so forth. But let's just build something in lovable so we get the proper thing. So here, I'm just going to change this to post. I'm going to grab that webhook for now, and I'm going to flip over to lovable. And here I'm going to say I want to build a web app that allows the user to insert 3 fields, which will be these right here. Go back here. Attached. The third item should be a drop-down menu. When the user presses submit, send the info to this webhook. I'm going to paste in the webhook. Then I'll say then wait for a response which will be returned in this format. So if I go back to N8N, potentially I'm just going to remove this and I'm just going to grab this information right here, copy the selection. So like that, lovable will know what to expect. So I'm just going to paste that in there. Your job is to display the returned info, variable number of items, as, or maybe say in the form of cards. Each card should have, let's say, 3 buttons underneath it. One with the Instagram icon, the other with the Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn icon. When the user clicks on any of these icons, send the title plus text of the card chosen along with the social media button clicked to this second webhook. So here I'm also introducing the concept of a second webhook. So I'll just create a new one here, new workflow, and I will just have a webhook. So here again, let's go to post. Let's go to test, copy that, save it, and go back to lovable. And what I want is that when a user then wait for a response, which will be returned in this format. And then we would say social media post. And then social media post goes here. I think that would suffice, but let's see. And let's hit enter there. Since I said lovable, I expected it to return stuff in that format. What I'm going to do is just paste that in here. So return format, just so I have that right here. So this will be the return format for webhook. And we'll get to that in a second. But for now, I'll just let lovable do its thing right here. I'll activate this so we can connect it here in a second. And what we'll also need here would be a webhook response. So this will be JSON, since this is what we said. And this will be eventually the stuff from this code node. So all we need to do is just let Lovable do its thing before we can test. So this will be the, let's call it YouTube Reddit plus Lovable 1 out of 2. And this will be the 2 out of 2. In the meantime, I'll just pause the video while Lovable is doing its thing, and then we can continue. Okay, so we got the happy noise from Lovable, which generally means good stuff is about to show up on screen, which it has. Content discover app, discover trending content, transform it into engaging social media stuff. Great. Idea keyword, N8N subreddit, sort by. Great. Top, new, hot. So we got the drop down right there. Great. Idea, let's put in dogs. Reddit, let's put in dogs. Let's put in top. Fail to fetch content. Please try again. Okay, so first of all, let's execute. So let's turn this on, execute it. So now this should be waiting for us to call this test URL. So if we go back here, hit discover content. Here we got found undefined content items, whatever that means. So the question is, did this get sent to N8N, which I think it has. So here we got dogs, dogs, and top, which is great. So now we can connect that like so. And for the subreddit, we can clear this out and we'll put in whatever the user would have sent. What we also need here under add fields is the category. So we gave the user the option of top, right? So it should be top post or hot post or new post. We also have rising, so that could also be one thing to include. So maybe what I want to do is just map this like so. So copy this. So I'll be able to pass the exact thing that the user would have chosen in Lovable. So let's just paste that in here. Here I'm going to say, let's change the sort by options to the ones I gave you in the screenshot. So we'll be able to map those directly from here rather than having top, new, hot, and then have to think about changing it to match what the Reddit node has. We can just flip to expression. Actually, thinking about it, we have top. Okay, so it might be top, hot, okay, new. So I think we should have left it as it was, and rising. Cool. What we could also do is just, now that we have this, I mean, think about it, for the front facing sort of thing, maybe top post or rising post makes more sense. So what we can then do is just remove the space and the post part when we have the stuff in N8N. So let's execute this. Let's try Lovable once more. So now if we refresh here, we have the different sorting options. Great. Let's go with rising posts. Let's put in dogs. Let's put in dog as the subreddit and hit discover, or yeah, discover content. So now we got this right here. And we did get rising here actually. Interesting. Okay, I mean, that looks fine to me. So let's just connect that. And now, instead of having this hard-coded to be rising, you can just map it by sort by. We could also add the option in terms of how many posts to return. So that could be the next thing as well. Here, what I'm going to do is change respond to webhook node. And now, I think we're ready to test this out. So if I execute this and go back here and hit, let's choose, I mean, I'm sure there's a subreddit called dog. So if I go to reddit.com/dog. Yep. Let's see what the top posts are all about. If I hit discover content, we still got the found undefined content items. So here, okay, we did respond to the webhook with all this information. Great. What I need to do is just change the response body. So here, what if we just send the, can I just send JSON like so? Let's save this. Let's try again. Let's go back here, hit discover. And we still got the undiscovered content. So here, okay, let's just copy this. Go back to red to lovable and say, so the webhook is sending over this data, but I'm not seeing anything returned in lovable. Hit enter. In general, this is a relatively quick fix. It's just that lovable is expecting data in one specific format while N8N is returning it in a different format. So let's see whether this will fix that. So I can see the issue. The application is expecting the webhook to return an array, but the response has changed over time. Cool. Let me check and fix to handle both single and array properly. Cool. So let's go back here. Let's hit execute once more. So this is now waiting for a call to that test URL, and we'll just keep going once that is updated. Okay, cool. So this is saying that that was fixed. So let's see. Failed to fetch content. Okay, let's execute that. So it's listening once more. Hit discover. Cool. So now we got one content, which unfortunately is about this lady who seems to have lost her dog. We did get the Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn right here. So that is good. But I'm just seeing one piece of content when in reality, I want to access all of the returned content. Right here, we are returning 15 items. So let's go back here. So I am getting one piece of content to show, but N8N's webhook is returning multiple items. Please fix so all the items returned by the webhook actually. That was weird. Okay, that just refreshed on its own. So I'm getting I'm getting one post showing that was returned by the webhook. However, the webhook returned multiple items. I want all the data, all the items returned by the webhook to show. Okay. There might be a data structure issue. So let's let that do its thing. Now, if I go back here, so far what we've done is we've built this. We've built the submit. We're kind of at this stage right now. We got one idea along with the buttons, as you saw previously. So once we fix this, the idea is retrieved. This is the part we're tackling next. So let's go back to lovable and see what's up. Try submitting the form again. Cool. So let's put in dogs. Register dog. Let's sort by rising and let's hit discover content. Okay, found one item. Why though? Here we have 15 items. We kept 15 items. We are returning 15 items. So let's copy selection, go back to lovable, and say I'm still just getting one post shown. For reference, this is the webhook response from N8N. Cool, let's see, working. I love how it's always seeing the issue clearly, but we still get the same problems. It's always the same. This is the final solution. I'm sure this will work. I'm confident, but then it doesn't. And it's something that large language models seem to I guess they're quite overconfident in the solutions they provide. I mean, which is good, I guess, as long as you take it with a pinch of salt. So here this is doing its thing. So let me just pause this and I'll resume once we have an update here. All right, so key changes should be good. Let's refresh. Execute this once more. Put in dog, rising, discover. And yeah, we're still getting just the one. So what we could do, I guess. Yeah, let's just remove the code node. just respond directly with the 15 items. I mean, it is weird. Respond with JSON. We are sending all that, right? Let's respond with all incoming items. So essentially everything we keep, we respond with. And let's see if that going straight to the point is better. Okay. Yeah, that seemed to work better. The only issue, I guess, is that we're not getting the them and the N8N, the dog Reddit subreddit is full of yeah, unfortunately. So let us update this. So I'm just going to say, okay, this is working well, but I'm not getting the text of the post. This will be in the variable called, let's see what it was called in N8N, and then we'll go directly like so. So here it was under the self text. So let's put in this. This text should be displayed between the title and the social media buttons. Yeah, let's just do that. It's weird though. I mean, I don't see a reason why that wouldn't work, but let's also uncomplicate life and carry on with things that work. So I need to update the code. Cool. Okay. So now what I can also test in the meantime, if I run this webhook and I click on an Instagram button, here it's saying your Instagram post is ready, which it wouldn't be, but I just wanted to test that first of all this worked. And here we got the title, which is mostly frequently asked questions for fair parents, which was that the right one? Great. And we got that was sent on Instagram. Great. What we also need to send though is the actual text of the post. So that will be the next thing that we'll need to work on in case it doesn't by itself sort of update after we get the text created or showing right here. So let's execute this once more. Just still creating. Just thinking about this idea keyword, whether that is really necessary, but yeah, see if it's right here. Okay, so this finished. So now if I hit discover content once more, it said found 15 content items, but I think we're still not getting the text. Yeah, for some reason we're still not getting the text. I mean, we got the titles, and if I were to refresh this just to test, let's say we type in cats. Okay, now we are getting the text there. So could it be that some posts do not have text? I guess. So we type in dog again, run this. Okay, no, it seems to be working fine now. Okay, sweet. So that fixed it. If we run the second webhook again and hit Instagram, here, let's see what we got. Good. So here we got the title and the text and the platform, which is great. So now what we want to do is turn that into an Instagram post, a LinkedIn post, whatever sort of post. So here what I'm going to do first is use a switch because I want to filter based on the platform itself. So I'm going to filter based on that. So if platform is equal to Instagram, that would be one route. If the platform is equal to Facebook, that would be another route. So I'm just creating different routes for N8N to follow. If the platform is equal to LinkedIn, that would be a third route. And I believe we also had, yeah, those are the three. So now, oops, if I have a look here, I need to update the first one, which is Instagram, which now means I have three different routes, right? So what I'm going to do, first of all, let's just spin this data. If it's Instagram, I'm going to use an OpenAI node. We're going to message a model. Let's use GPT 4.1. And let's just say, You are a helpful content assistant that creates posts for Instagram. The user will provide a title and text you will use as the basis for this post. Obviously, feel free to play around with that. I'm going to add another message here, which is the user message. And let's just run this so we get some data onto Instagram. So here for the user, we're just going to pass along the title and the text. I'm going to say title and text. So now if I execute this, I should get a post, unfortunately, about the passing of the animal, right? The passing of the dog called Lady. Exactly 1 year ago, I had to say my final goodbye to my childhood pet who took her to the Dairy Queen for a pop cup, etc, etc. So we got an Instagram post out of that. Same thing can be done with Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, just to change the topic and have something, I guess, better when it comes to image creation, let's just go with a different post. So, he is so proud, caught a rat. Yeah, maybe not. So let's go back to, I don't know, cars, right? Let's go to Reddit called cars. So execute that, hit discover content, and now we got some cars, right? Why are manual transmissions in Audis, Mercedes, and BMW always reviewed? Let's run this. Let's go back here, choose Instagram. And now we should get an Instagram post about cars and the reviewing of Mercedes, whatever it was, right? Or Audis, Mercedes, and BMWs always reviewed poorly. Why are manual transmissions in Audi always reviewed poorly? Ever noticed that every time someone reviews a manual transmission, they almost always say the same thing? It just isn't great, except Porsche, obviously. But why is that? So yeah, we got that right there. But let's say that we want to get 3 different angles, right? So what we could do is just say this is IG1, but we could also, if we wanted to generate additional sort of posts, so we could have 3 different posts for us to choose from. And in that case, what I would do is instead of using this right here, I would, actually let me think. I could use this as well. So yeah, let's keep that in here. What I would do though, just output this as JSON, and I will now update the system prompt. So here I'm going to say the user provide a title, and you will use this as a basis for 3 Instagram posts to create. Rules: each post must have a different angle to the others. Use emojis sparingly. What else? Outputting correct JSON using the following model. So this will be Instagram. And then let's say we'll have an array where we'll have Instagram post 1. Let me just move my camera here. And then we'll have 2 and 3. So 2 and 3. And let's zoom out. And let's try this again. So I'm going to pin this data. I'm going to execute the workflow. And let's see what this LLM node will give us. So here we got post 1, post 2, and post 3. Great. So now, we could do different things. Technically, we could just create an image and send it with the information back to Lovable. Or we could let's just respond for now and see what we get. So here, if I hit execute workflow, actually, let's stop this. Let's unpin, save, execute, and let's go back to Lovable. And here, let's hit Instagram here. So here we got fail to generate Instagram post. So if we go back here, probably we need to configure this to respond to the webhook. Great. So execute once more, hit Instagram. This is still loading. Let's see what we got or what we get. Here we get Instagram post is ready. So I'm curious where that got displayed. Yeah, I don't know where that got displayed. So this looks like it was generated here, but on Lovable side, I'm really not sure where that got displayed. So let's just say when you get a response back from the second webhook, i.e. the social media post, use a modal pop-up to display the response. Also have a button that allows the user to copy any of the 3 posts returned. Let's try that. In the meantime, let's execute this workflow once more. And we'll try it with this Audi, Mercedes, and BMW once more. In a second, once this is ready. Okay, so this is saying that it is ready. So let's test that out. This is still okay, waiting for a request. So let's choose Instagram once more. And let's see what happens here in a second. Okay, your Instagram post is created. And and that seems to have restarted the whole thing, which isn't what we wanted. So here we are responding with the first incoming item. So we are sending that, but okay, let me just copy this, go back here. Let's just test this once more in case that needed to be refreshed. If not, we'll go back and make a change. So let's go with cars. Again, cars. Let's choose rising, discover. So that should trigger the first workflow. Great, got that. Let's choose Instagram. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening here in the second one. Let's refresh this. Okay, waiting for a call. Hit Instagram. Okay. Social media post for that. No social media post generated yet. Okay. So let's just copy this and go back and say, so the modal is happening, but no data is being shown. FYI, this is an example of what the webhook will return. And I'm just going to paste that in there. Hit send. So again, just like we did with the first webhook, we need to ensure that Lovable and N8N agree on what to expect, sort of thing. What N8N will send and what Lovable will be able to read. So the current code is expecting the post to be directly accessible. Cool. So this will make the change right there. And yeah, we are almost done here. So in the meantime, if you're enjoying this sort of content, feel free to hit the like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And check out the link in the description as well if you want more information on how to potentially work together to build the solutions that you are after. So going back here, this is still working. Or at least it seems to be. Yes, this seems to be working. Let's try that though. Instagram. Failed to generate Instagram post. Please try again. Okay, weird. Execute. Instagram. I mean, things seem to be working well on N8N's side. Just that Lovable isn't really having it. So what I'm going to do here is just spin the OpenAI output. Yeah, here we're still getting an error. So let me copy this, copy that, paste that in here. I'm getting this when I receive the webhook response for the social media post creation. Okay, so this is saying I've enhanced the response, etc., etc. Let's see if that is true. So if we now run this, so this is waiting for a call. Choose Instagram. Okay, cool. So got Instagram post 1, post 2, post 3, which is great. I just want it to be separated out, right? But I can copy here. So if I go to my notepad and paste that in, I am getting that information in my clipboard. I'm getting the emojis as well there. Great. So I just need this to be separated out into 3 different posts, right? So let's go back to Lovable and just say, this is great. The only issue is that this needs to be separated out into 3 different posts, not one big chunk of text. Okay. The model now separates the combined posts into individual posts. Allegedly. So let's test that out. Execute. Go back here, hit Instagram. Okay, so now that is being separated. Great. So I can copy this. And does that only copy the first post? It does. Yep. And we can also go deeper and say, okay, like separate out the title and the post, which might make sense as well. So then it's 2 separate things, you know. So within this box, we could have the title and the post as well. So yeah, going back here. So we got the ideas retrieved. We got that. Great. And the final part would be to generate an image. So let's also do that. So we'll go back here. What I want to do before responding is, first of all, let's go back here and let's just say this is great. What I now want to do is also, let me just think about how this can be returned. So here we're returning all the data, right? So potentially we'll also want to, include an image as part of the webhook response. So yeah, this is great. What I now want to do is also show an image that will be returned as part of the webhook response. In the modal pop-up window, let's keep the text posts on the left and then the image on the right. Again, the image info will be in the webhook response, let's say in binary format. I think we can do that. I think we can. Let's see, in binary format. So potentially what we then need to do is just open AI. Let's generate an image right here. And yeah, generate an image. And this will be about, we need to create a prompt. So here, let's just duplicate this. And what I'm going to do is just do this. Let's call this generate image prompt with a spelling mistake there. And let's just say our helpful content assistant that creates an image post based, an image prompt based on the user's input. Make it no longer than 100 words and only one single paragraph. No commentary, no fluff, just the image prompt. And here, for the user message, I'm just going to pass along the 3 social media posts. So Instagram 0, Instagram 1, and Instagram 2. And obviously this can be done for the other brands as well, right? The Facebook and the LinkedIn. So here I'll unpin that. First of all, let's pin the webhook as well. Let's generate the image prompt and see what we get. And then based on that, I'll also create the image. And what I'm thinking then is that I'll combine all the data to send to the webhook. So here, under the image prompt, we got this, a split image highlighting a close-up, great, of a German car, manual transmission, showing a driver's hand, shifting a vague, unengaging shifter. Cool. Here, by default, I believe it will respond in binary, so that is fine. We could also respond with an image URL, and then deliver that back to Lovable. So here we got the binary. So the final thing I will do, and potentially, I don't know if this would work, but let's see. Here is, I'll do this, and now I'll send all the data combined together through a merge node. So here, let's add that, and then we'll respond with that. So potentially we'll send the post, we'll send the binary data. Let's combine all possible combinations. And if we go back to Lovable, let's test this. So cars, and let's hit rising post, discover content. Okay. So now we're to unpin all this and execute and hit Instagram. Let's see what we get here. So we're supposed to get this, that will create this, and then merge and then respond to the webhook. Okay, here, so here we got a bad request. Potentially because, yeah, this didn't have access to those posts, which is fair enough. So I think, I mean, here, don't even really need the Instagram post technically. You can just use the stuff from the webhook itself if we wanted to. I think that also makes sense. So yeah, let's execute the workflow. Let's try this again. Hit Instagram. Let's see what happens here. So this is creating the Instagram post. It will then generate the prompt for it based on the information that we got from the webhook. Then we generate the image that, if it all works well, we'll send back to the webhook. And we'll know if that works in a second, which I'm sure it's not going to because this has just refreshed again. So let's just publish this so we don't keep running into the same issue. And then we'll review, or we'll use the live version because Lovable does sometimes refresh unexpectedly. Okay, so webhook social cars.lovable.app. Great. I mean, here we didn't get any errors, and if we look at what we sent here to the webhook, we should have sent that and the binary. Yeah, so yeah, let's see. So let's execute that. Let's execute that. Let's go here, type in cars, rising post, discover content. Great. Choose Instagram. For some reason we got failed to generate post. Why is that? Okay, that's weird. Since this is this waiting, maybe it was stuck. And this would no longer be an issue once we turn this to active, right? But for now, it makes sense to test this like so. Hit Instagram, okay. I think that webhook just got stuck. So this is now executing. And let's see what we get here once the modal pops up in a second. Okay, here we got bad request, bad prompt. Why? Missing required parameter, which is the prompt. JSON, message, content. I see. So here this is being called prompt rather than. Okay, yeah, here let's output like a normal output without this being JSON. And that should solve the issue right here. So now we're to just test this to see what this will be. So just type in cars. We'll be able to see what the prompt will actually look like. Okay, so it should be message.content now. So let's connect this once more. Let's update the prompt to that dynamic variable. And here we can connect again and just have message.content rather than image prompt. So again, execute workflow, go back, hit Instagram. And let's try once more. Okay, no errors this time here. Okay, responded well. Let's see here. So the issue is that we don't have the image, right? Yeah. So that's the only issue. We got that, but not the image. So we go back here. Let's just say everything worked well on the webhooks side, but I'm not seeing the image in the modal pop-up that came up, even though the data was sent through by the N8N webhook in binary format for the image. The potential issue with this is that it's tough to show this, I guess, and give it an example of what this binary will look like. So let's see if it manages to fix that. Because if not, we might have to go with the URL, I guess. The binary needs to be properly converted. Yeah, it needs to be properly converted to a format that can be displayed in the browser. That makes sense. So let's see. All right, so this is now able, or should be able to handle it. So we can try this once more. So let's go back here. Let's publish, update. Let's run the webhooks once more. Okay, cool. Let's refresh this. So cars, sort by rising, fill in all fields. Okay. Instagram, failed to generate. It's a bit weird, but let's execute that. Hit Instagram, okay. Run this once more. I might just spin the data in a second here as well. So if we have to run this again, it won't keep. We won't have to keep going through this one, like, and waiting close to a minute at least each time. Now the question is, do we get the image showing up here in a second? No, still not getting the image. All right, so what did it say here? The key change is equal to binary data detection, binary to base64 conversion, enhanced logging. The binary data from the N8N webhook typically comes as an object with data property. The code can now be converted to base64. I mean, what if we converted directly to base64 ourselves then? I think that can also be done, right? So binary, let's convert binary to JSON, move file to base64, data, cool. So let's just pin, and pin. Let's just try this. So now we do this. Potentially we can't pin the binary. So let's try that. Then we'll see if we can convert that and then pass that along. So it's already in base64 rather than having to trust Lovable with converting that as well. And it would also make it easier to explain to Lovable what the response might look like. So here, okay, cool. We got that data. So now what we are sending here is all that great. So now we're sending the data right here. So now this also means that if I go to JSON and this doesn't freeze, yeah, it's a big image, but I think we should be able to just copy the selection, go back to Lovable and say, this is still not displaying the image. What I've done is I've converted the binary image to base64 for you so that it will be easier to handle. This is the sort of response you can expect from the webhook. please ensure the 3 posts and the image, again now in base 64, are displayed in the modal pop-up. And let's just paste that whole thing in here, and hopefully message is too long. Exceeded by that sort of characters. Can you include that as a text file? Desktop, new tool. I'm not sure we can, but let's see. We might have to not give it the actual like binary data in this case. Let's wait. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't crash. Yeah, let me try and refresh the page. So here I'm just going to say again, what I've done is converted the binary data to base 64 for you before as part of the webhook response. Ensure the 3 social media posts plus the image are displayed correctly in the pop-up window. And here, let's see if we can attach. So we can attach an image. Can we not attach a file? Really? Desktop, new tool. Valid file type. Okay. Yeah, I guess we have to go with that and see what happens. What we could also do, I guess, is just provide this like so. So say, let me just stop this and say the base 64 will be under the data key. Let's try that. Alternatively, we could also just take the simple route and then potentially email the user like the image, so it doesn't have to be directly displayed in the lovable interface. I just think that this is better from a user point of view. The current code is already handled this correctly. It checks, okay, or they handle this, okay. Okay. So this is saying that this is handling it. But when we tried it before, I mean, before we were having the binary data. But let's see. So here we're waiting for a trigger. Here, same thing. So we go back here, hit discover content, and hit Instagram. Fail to generate post. Okay. Let's go back here. Okay, view generated posts. Let's just save and refresh this. Again, webhook seems to be getting stuck for some reason. Instagram. Okay, generating image. So this should convert it to base 64 from binary, merge everything together, and then respond. And no, for some reason we're still not getting that. This is still not displaying the image at all. What we could also do is have some sort of like debugging and information right here to see what is coming through. But looking at this, I mean, we should be able to should be sending everything over, right? Like so, right? We have the data, we have the content. So technically, I guess Lovable should be able to process all this. So this now said that it added debugging. So let's see what that looks like. Publish this, or rather update it. If we execute this workflow, so this is waiting. Sure where that went. Where did that go? Okay, just waiting for a test call. So let's hit Instagram. I don't know if we need to keep generating this time and time again. Potentially can also open it. Okay. Yeah, we're still not getting this, and I'm not sure where this debugging is actually happening. So to track exactly what's happening, the logs will now show. So is that in our inspect console? I guess. So here what we're getting is missing description, found. So where's the part about the image array tree? Using image for modal force. Warning, missing description. Let's go back to Lovable one last time and see. I'm getting this. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to provide the URL and use that from OpenAI essentially. So just close this unless it fixes it right now with this. So we'll go back here. I'll just flip this to respond with image URL. But let's see what Lovable will say, and then we can make the change. So here saying the image data isn't being processed correctly. The logs show that the application is receiving data, but the image processing logic is failing to extract it properly. Let me examine the current image processing logic and fix it. Okay. So here saying I've simplified that, now properly handles. Okay. Again, seems very confident. So let's see if that is warranted. So I'll update this. I'll leave this as is for this second. Can I see if I pin this, if that works? I'll execute the workflow. So now this is waiting for a webhook. Cool. Let's hit Instagram. Yeah, failed to generate post for some reason. So I think we can't really pin that. So I'll go here, Instagram. Yeah, don't get the error. And let's generate that once more. And let's see if we get the image to display in Lovable. Okay, responded. And yeah, so I'm not getting the image. So unless I'm missing something, that image does not exist. So view, no. Okay, cool. So let's just go back to N8N here. Let's flip this to respond with image URL. Now, if we just run this, we'll see what this looks like. So then I'll also delete this, simply because we'll just respond with the URL. What's important to note is that that URL will expire after some time. So if you want to keep it for the users, you would need to store it elsewhere. So here we got that URL. So if I open this up, copy, tab, new, we get that right there, right? So now if I first of all pin this, if I run the merge node, we should get that right here. So now I can go back to Lovable and say
this isn't working. Let's the webhook will now return the image URL, not binary or base 64. Use the image URL to display the image correctly next to the 3 social media posts. Here's an example of the JSON you will get. The URL will be in the, I believe it's called URL field. And yeah, URL field. Cool, let's run that and see what we get. Okay, so again, this is saying the system will now extract the URL correctly. So update this. Let's go back to N8N. If I can leave these pinned, I can execute the workflow. Let's execute this as well. Yeah, just unpin the webhook itself. So now, if I hit Instagram, did that run? Let's unpin everything. Hit execute. Let's refresh this. And let's start from the beginning. So cars. Let's go with rising as we were. What's wrong with that? Failed to fetch content. Okay. Just refresh. Try once more. Okay. Choose Instagram. I'm not sure if it's an N8N thing or not, but the webhooks do seem to be sort of freezing up, or I don't know. Execute the workflow. Choose Instagram. This is now going through here. Okay. Now we got an error here. So it's saying failed to generate Instagram post. I mean, this is sending all the information, but it's just not getting picked up for some reason. Okay, so let's go back here. This is still saying failed to generate Instagram post. Still having issues with the image being displayed. Which is interesting, I guess, because I'm just curious if there's anything that is getting sort of mixed up when it comes to that image URL, if it's still sort of overlapping with the binary data or the base 64 for some reason. But I don't see a reason why. Okay, so this thing, it added debugging again in the console. So let's just, I guess, try this once more. Execute. Let's put in cars, rising, discover. Okay. Instagram, failed to generate. Okay. It's weird though, when I press stop, this is not, yeah, that's why I'm thinking that this is sort of freezing for some reason. So hit Instagram. If I inspect here, look at the console. Let's see. Failed to generate Instagram post. No Instagram post content found in response. That's so weird though. So it's getting raw Instagram response. Okay, cool. But it is saying nothing was found. Okay, let's paste this in here. This is the console log. Getting error. But clearly all 3 Instagram posts plus and the image URL are getting returned. Please fix. So we got the post 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, we get the URL. So yeah, I'm not sure why these are running into issues. So let's see what it says now. I can see the issue clearly now. Sure. Let me trace is the extraction logic. Okay. All right. So here I'm guessing it's saying it's fixed. So let's see whether that is true. So let's run this. Let's go back here. Let's hit Instagram. And let's see what we get. Yeah, I might just spin the data once more. I guess it's funny how one simple thing can take so much time. And yeah, generally it's something really, really small, but it is what it is. So let's close that. Let's go back here. This is almost finished generating the image. And finally, yes, we got that image. Great. We got that. We got debug information. Awesome. So what we want to do is, first of all, congratulate Lovable. So here we can put an X on that and just say, this is great. Let's remove the debug info from the pop-up window. Keep everything else as is. Also, let's update the webhooks. Webhook 1 and we have webhook 2. So webhook 1 will be this. So it will be production, copy, save, and turn this on. So that is webhook 1, and then we have webhook 2. So same thing. Let's tidy this up. Oops. What's the shortcut? Shift Alt D. Let's tidy this. We can delete that. Can turn this on. Let's grab the production URL and let's paste that in there as well. And now we just close everything. I mean, maybe apart from Xcalid draw. So we'll be able to check that off. So here we'll have the 3 LinkedIn ideas, which in our case went for Instagram, and then the image displayed as well. So that should be fine. So this is working great. So let's close everything. And once this is done, we'll publish and we'll test one last time. Cool. So it's saying this is good. So let's publish this. Let's update this. And we can open this up and test it out. So here, let's say we're going to look for cars. Let's sort by rising post. Discover content. Okay, cool. Let's go to Instagram. And once this finishes, let's see if we get the 3 posts and the image. I guess thinking about what we could do if the post has no text, could also not display that even though it has upvotes. Just think about it. Okay, so loading, change the image, and we got the image right there. Awesome. So we can open that in a new tab as well. Great. We have the Oh, geez. Why are we getting just one post? Okay, I thought we had resolved that, but for some reason now we're just getting one post. That's not good. Everything is fine, but now I'm only seeing one social media post instead of the returned 3. Jeez. So I don't know if it's a... Yeah, for some reason there's only one. There's not the 3, right? Yeah. Why though? It's only taking the first item and not properly handling the case where there are multiple posts for the same platform. Yeah, that's the issue sometimes. Like 2 steps forward, 10 steps back. But let's let that do its thing. Okay, properly formatted. So let's try this one more time. And I know I've been saying that for the last, I don't know, it's been almost an hour and 30 minutes of this video. So it is getting long, but let's try this one more time. So refresh. Cars, rising post, discover content. Okay, Instagram. And hopefully we get the 3 post and the social media image. Fingers crossed. We'll look at executions here. Took 30 seconds the last time around. So we should have something within the next few seconds as well. Now we're the post 1, post 2, post 3. Yeah. That's the sound you start making after at some point. Okay, why is that happening? So here, this is, why is this still running? Okay, succeeded. Respond to webhook. Okay, let's copy this again. Let's go back to lovable and say, first of all, paste this and say, this is still not showing me the 3 post as expected. Let's go here. Let's take a screenshot of this. And let's just say the screenshot attached is what I'm seeing. Please fix. I want the 3 social media posts and the image, which is fine right now. Okay, let's try this one last time. So let's put in cars, rising, discover, great, Instagram. And let's see what happens again. Okay, and I think finally we're good. So I post 1, 2, 3. Great, we have the image right there. Awesome. So I'm going to publish this, update that. And just to be thorough, I was going to test it one last time on the live version. So if I go here, I refresh and just pick a new topic. So I don't know, let's pick computers. Let's choose rising posts. I love my computer, so much fun. Great. Let's choose Instagram. And I love playing games and how it saves things automatically, so good. I mean, yeah. Can't argue with that, I guess. Is it still cheaper to buy a PC yourself, or are pre-built ones cheaper? So as you can see here in this area, it only found, out of those 15, it only kept 4 that had the upvotes. So yeah, this looks good. So we got the image, we got the post, So then you can just copy that, go to Instagram, and then rock on from there. And obviously you could build this out just like we did for the other channels, right? In our case, we just had the like Instagram route brand filled out, but obviously you can then do the pretty much the same thing for Facebook, LinkedIn. You just change the prompt right here to make it more suited to Instagram rather than other platforms. So that's pretty much it. It's been a long video. I hope you found it useful. I hope you stayed, like if you stayed till the end, well done first of all, and I hope it was useful in terms of the back and forth with Lovable and trying to work through solutions by presenting what the data might look like, ensuring that things are lining up on both ends, and going back and forth sometimes, as I said, one step forward, two steps back until you get to the result that you want. If you enjoyed that video, hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. And in the meantime, check out the link in the description for the blueprint to this build as well. So I'll include this build and this build in the link in the description. And there's also a link for more information if you want to get help building your AI and automation workflows. I'll speak to you very soon.